justice and peace and equality.
Game Changers Magazine, Game Changers Media Network, Voices of the Village podcast, where change starts with conversation. And today we have a special guest, Mr. Mitchell White. How you doing today, sir?
Hey, how you doing, brother? What's going on?
Man, good, man. Just celebrating the Labor Day weekend, the working class American people. You know, we're back in the office today,
Right.
But we're back into good things, and we're glad to have you on our show, man.
I'm glad to be here. You know, it's a lot going on in the world right now.
Yes.
You know, it's a lot going on in Henry County. So
Okay.
I'm just glad to be here to chop it up with you.
Man, for those who don't know who Mitchell White is, who is Mitchell White, man?
I'm a husband, a father.
Okay.
Been married to my high school sweetheart for 24 years.
Awesome.
I have 6 beautiful children, 3 boys, 3 girls. I ran for office last year,
Okay.
State House District 81.
Okay.
And I am going to be running again next year for the state legislature.
Awesome. And what is House District 81? What district does that cover?
Oh, that covers basically unincorporated McDonough and Locust Grove. So we're talking about from Kellytown, Lake Dow, Tussa Hall, Sandy Ridge,
Okay.
East Lake, Locust Grove, Grove Park, that entire area.
Okay. Now you mentioned that you ran last year, not last year, but the last time the election was up for grabs.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that you feel, made you run again and say, pivot from the last campaign to today?
Well, I look at it like this. I didn't lose. I ran out of time.
Okay.
I got in a race relatively late. Because it was a gerrymandered district, and of course with everything that's going on the national stage right now with
Okay.
Texas gerrymandering, this is something straight out of the Republicans' playbook to consolidate power and basically undermine our democracy.
Okay.
And so when I found out that there was a gerrymandered seat where there was no Democrat on the ballot and apparently no one wanted to run, I said, well, I'll do it.
Okay.
And so I jumped at that opportunity.
Okay.
We had ran a pretty good campaign, all things considered.
Right.
And like I said, I didn't lose, I ran out of time. And
Right.
so it's like, look, if you don't get something the first time,
Yeah.
you keep going. And the thing about that is I wanted to set an example.
Okay.
Especially for my children, especially for my sons, about what it means to be persistent and persevere and overcome adversity. That's the American story.
That is definitely the American story. Overcoming challenges,
Absolutely.
breaking cycles, building bridges, being the change that we want to see.
Exactly.
Now, in running for office, and I heard you talk about gerrymandering.
Absolutely.
We've consistently seen the goalposts move in Georgia. I mean, as not just Democrats, but African American Democrats emerge to become leaders in community.
Right.
And even once they become leaders in the community, it's a lot of gerrymandering going on. So
Right.
tell us about that, and some of the pushback that comes with the way these things are happening.
Well, look, I think gerrymandering does serve a useful purpose in the execution of democracy. It's
Okay.
one of the reasons why the Founding Fathers put that into the Constitution.
Right.
But what we're seeing here as of late, especially in the age of MAGA and Trump,
Okay.
is a misuse and abuse of that power.
Gotcha.
And again, as I stated, it's a way to water down
Yes.
certain communities and their ability to execute political power to push for the policies that may benefit those communities.
Yes.
And so again, we see Republicans, running this playbook. And look, I even have people, ask me, well, why are you running if you know you can't win? Why are you running in a gerrymandered district? And I tell them, I said, well, look, even a rigged game is fun to play.
Yes.
You can't win if you don't get in the game.
Correct.
You get in the game, you never know, something could happen.
Yes.
An October surprise, you never know. So
Right.
you can't win if you don't try. And then the other thing about this is, I think as Democrats, we need to send an unequivocal message to Republicans that you can gerrymander, but you're still going to have to fight.
Right.
You can gerrymander all you want, but you're still going to have to fight. And I think once we get that in our mind as Democrats, that we are going to compete and
Yes.
for every seat, then it kind of lessens the incentive for Republicans to rely so heavily
Okay.
on gerrymandering.
All right.
Let's have fair seats,
Okay.
fair races, and let the best platform and the best ideas win. That's what pushes our democracy in America forward. The history shows us that.
Right now, I remember the point where the Henry County Democratic Party had a strong presence in the community. Had a very strong presence in the community. People were engaged. People were active. We flipped seats. We turned the county blue.
Absolutely.
Right now, I don't see the Democratic Party of Henry County pushing initiatives, pushing actions. What's going on in the Democratic Party, and what's, because I don't believe we as the people are receiving the information, as we should. What's going on with the Democratic Party in Henry County?
I think there's a lot of fatigue
Okay.
going on right now.
Okay.
I think in the age of Trumpism and MAGA politics,
Okay.
there's kind of been this receding of engagement from the Democratic Party's historic coalitions.
Okay. Okay.
But with that being said, I'll just be honest with you. I'm not relying on the Democratic Party, the Henry
Gotcha.
County Democratic Party.
Okay.
I'm not asking for permission to run for this seat. I'm not asking for permission to flip this seat. And look, when everyday working people, look, I'm a working guy.
Yes. Yes.
Blue collar.
Yes.
And the thing that I want people to understand in 2026 is that working regular people have something to say.
Yes, they do. And that's one thing. I was talking to candidate Xavier Johnson for District 1, City Council of McDonough,
Right.
just on yesterday, where we were talking about the hard-working man, the hard-working woman, the blue
Absolutely.
collar. Because Henry County has created a demographic of people who get up and go to work 5 a.m. to 2 p.m., the warehouse worker, the ones who drive the trucks, the ones who move the economy.
Absolutely.
How do you relate to those people, and how do you, and why do you choose to represent that demographic?
Well, because I'm one of them. Look,
Okay.
I know what it is to sit and look at, your bank statement and then look at your expenses and
Yes.
like, okay, how am I going to balance this? How am I going to make ends meet?
Right, right.
And as working people and regular people, one of the things that we feel is no one's really listening to us.
Okay, okay.
And I think in a lot of ways that's harmed the Democratic Party more than the Republican Party. If you look at any of the public polling right now, the Democratic brand is just as unpopular and toxic as
Yes, it is.
the Republican Party
It is.
and Donald Trump.
Correct.
And that's for good reason, because historically, the Democratic Party was considered and looked at as the party of the working man, the working woman, regular everyday folk. And
Right.
here, I'd say over the last several years, it's been being perceived as more of a specialized party with specialized targeted messages to certain individuals, and so regular
Yes.
everyday people feel like no one is really listening to us. And when we do hear issues that are being posited by
Yes.
the Democratic Party, a lot of times they feel like it's just surface and it's just superficial. There's not really any teeth in it to really address the issues and the concerns of everyday working Americans.
And I definitely understand that. The messaging in the Democratic Party is definitely tainted. It's definitely need to
Right.
be revised, revisited, reframed.
Absolutely.
Because we got to a point where I believe we were segregating the message, and we categorized people. We went from being transgender to gay to
Right.
all of that, the black woman, the black man. It's like, man, let's just hit the people. What's the message for the people?
Exactly.
And I like the fact that you talk about the hardworking, everyday person, because when it comes to representing the people, the demographic for the working class man who can't get off his job to go vote early, who can't,
Exactly.
what they count to. Why does that matter so much to you?
Well, it's like you said, because there are more of those people than any other demographic in the country.
Correct.
Most of us are just regular and average.
Okay.
But we still want our fair shot at the American dream and feel like the American dream is working for us.
Definitely.
And so I'm running to represent those people. I'm from the soil, man. I'm a Hurricane Katrina survivor.
Wow.
I came here in 2006.
Okay.
In the wake of that destruction. So I've seen firsthand what happens when you have policies that don't look out or don't prioritize regular people, and that end in disaster. And so, just over these last 19 years, Georgia has been good to me. And so this is my way to give back and to say thank you, Peach State, for welcoming a New Orleans Saint.
Yes, sir, man. Shout out to my New Orleans family, man, all across that's tuned in, man. Them Woe boys, them Saint boys,
Right.
Who that? Who that, man? You know what I'm saying? I can't wait. And it's football season kicking off, so it's gonna be some little controversy there, man. A lot of things going on. Now you talked about Katrina, man. How did that affect your family and moving here in the way that you pivot now?
Oh well, it was surreal.
Okay.
To go through that and experience that. No one ever really thinks that their life is going to be turned upside down by a cataclysm, by an act of God. And so, look, I gotta put my big boy pants on and figure this thing out. And glory be to God, I've been able to build a life here in Georgia with my family, my wife and my children.
Okay.
I've been able to find income that pays the bills and
Yes.
and gives me certain fringe benefits.
Yes.
And I think at the end of the day, that's what every American fundamentally wants.
They definitely want that. And
Absolutely.
now you talked about being able to pay your bills and take care of your family. I mean, it's a lot of families that came from Katrina,
Right.
that came from New Orleans, that came to Atlanta looking for relief, looking for a different life that was different.
Mm.
Okay. What about how did that affect that community and rebuilding that community and bringing hope back to the city,
Right.
because I know with you being from New Orleans and you kind of being in the middle of that, you have seen the ups and the downs.
Absolutely.
So how did that restore hope?
Well, it's because what it did is it showed what's possible with government.
Okay.
Not big government, not small government, but
Okay.
effective government.
Correct.
And I think that as legislators and politicians, that should be our main objective, is to make sure that what we're doing, the policies that we're implementing as representatives of the people,
Okay.
benefit the people and are making their communities places of opportunity and not places of obstacles.
Okay.
Now you look at what the Trump administration has been doing, and it seems as if they're hedging their bets and doubling down on the latter, which is they want to make more obstacles for everyday working people. I mean,
Okay.
you look at what they're doing with FEMA,
Yes.
defunding FEMA. Now, FEMA was a major component of the relief efforts in the wake of Hurricane Katrina, but I think everyone remembers
Yes.
the bumbling by the George W. Bush administration in those first few days in the wake of that destruction. So much so to the point that we all know that famous Kanye West quote:
Yeah.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Yeah.
and if you think about that,
Okay.
look at how far we've drifted away from that perspective to where we are now, to where it appears as if Trump doesn't care about anyone.
Right.
The policies he's implementing is going to hurt white people, black people, immigrants, all of us.
Yes.
You see, and so, as legislators, as politicians, our fundamental objective is to make sure that the government is operating in a way that's effective and going to create opportunity, not obstacles.
Now, I like the fact that you talked about how what the current president of the United States is, how he's affected everyone. Because
Right.
we just recently saw where a white male was arrested in front of the White House for burning the American flag because
Right.
he didn't even believe in the values and the principles that President Trump was even administering. All these, he's signing an execution order every day.
Right.
My God, when are you ever at peace?
Right. Well, I'm kind of split on that.
Okay.
I don't disagree with everything Donald Trump is doing, and
Okay.
maybe it's something I shouldn't say publicly as a Democrat, but
Correct.
I had hopes for President Trump, especially that first time, because I did believe that he had the ability, the propensity to be a transformative president in a positive way.
Okay.
But as we all can see, he's went the other direction with it.
Yes.
I don't think at this particular time, just where the mood of the country is, that we should be normalizing extreme protests against the United States, like burning the flag. And the reason why is because it's something that you and I were talking about off screen of how polarized everything is.
Yes.
And this is something that I tell my wife, my friends, and other just people that I talk to about these issues that's going on in America. We have to tread very lightly with the political climate in this country. Because anything can set something off.
Yes, it definitely can.
We've seen glimpses of it. We've seen it in Los Angeles when President Trump sent the National Guard to L.A. We've seen it where he deployed the National Guard to Washington, D.C. And so the thing that I want people to understand is that we have to remain calm.
Yes.
And tread very lightly and be very delicate with this American project, because democracy isn't guaranteed. The things that we take for granted, we have to work to make America work, to make America exist. Anything can set something off, and I think everyone needs to pay attention to that.
We definitely, I definitely 100% agree with you on that, and I also agree with you that you have to be able to work across party lines. I believe we define Republican, Democrat, and created our own Bloods Crip war. That's right here in America. It's turning into a Bloods Crip war. And pretty much, I'm looking at it like, when are the American people going to start working together? Because China, Russia, all of these countries are working together, creating a BRIC system to basically eliminate the American currency, pretty much. And like, when do we begin to unify and say, we the people?
Absolutely, and that's what it's about, and that's what my campaign is about. My campaign is about unifying District 81 around the issues that unite us, that we have more in common than not in common. If we get past the superficial, categories that we identify with, Republican, Democrat, black, white. We have to understand that we share a space together. We are in community with one another. And I think one of the main issues that has led to such polarization is, on the right you have a very activist agenda. And on the left you have a very crusadist agenda, where we have these activists and these crusaders. And so what's happened is it's made it very hard for Republicans and Democrats to meet in the middle and just bang out effective, smart, common sense policies that are going to benefit the entire American people.
Most definitely, man. And I believe the American people are looking for relief. They're looking for solidarity. We're looking for a space where it's not divided again. Now, speaking of divided, we wanted to let's go back to where we were talking about, in the Democratic Party. And I know you stated that you were depending on permission from the Democratic Party to run. What drew you to that point?
Well, it's just more or less, taking the initiative as a man, and taking responsibility for the direction of my community and my country. And what history shows us is that when regular, everyday people do that, that's what truly makes America great. And so, I'm not looking for permission from the political establishment. Now, if they, help and support and give me that blessing, that's fine. But I'm not making that a requisite for what I'm doing. I'm going to do it with or without you.
Most definitely, man. And we need people who can stand on that, man. We need people who can stand on, solid. We just need real men, real women back to work, the working class Americans to bridge the gap and have that voice. We're gonna have to go to a commercial break, man. We got Misha White, candidate for House District 81, state of Georgia, right here on Voices of the Village podcast. Game Changers Magazine, Game Changers Media Network, Voices of the Village podcast, where change starts with conversation. You guys stay tuned.
And equality. Now the world they will see. That's